Can you guys think of, on this side, you know, something that maybe it was through great casting, maybe it was just circumstances, maybe the camera was in the wrong place, that you got something you didn't expect that ended up being something that you really fell in love with?
The last scene of my movie came because we were shooting a different scene on the on the ship that didn't work, you know. And we actually spent most of the day shooting it, which was a kind of scene, kind of some hours after Tom was, you know, had been rescued and he was all, you know, showered, and the scene that we actually had on page was sort of 4 or 5 hours later, and he's kind of shown into the captain's cabin to relax, and he's given a beer and a phone to call home. And we spent most of the day shooting that, and it was fine, but you know when you just know it's not it. And kind of the clock ticks on, and we had a hard out. We had to be off that ship at 7, I think. So kind of it was about 5:30. We were talking to the captain. We said, well, you know, where else? And he said, oh, well, when he first came on, he would have gone to the infirmary, which is down the other side of the ship. So I said, well, can we go down there and just try something there? You know, it's kind of like a last throw of the dice, really. And he said, yeah, sure, there'll be a medic on, you know, on duty. You can use her. And in a way, of course, at that moment, blind panic sets in, because you call out, okay, everybody, we're going to go down the other end of the ship, and I don't know what it is, but we're going to try something, you know. And what happens is blind panic sets in, which actually is a very good place to make films, in my experience, because nobody knows what they're doing, least of all me. But what happens is you stop thinking about it and you start being entirely instinctive, and then you turn up sort of, you know, by the time you've got all the kit there, and by then there's moments to go, and it's like, it's this or never.
So this is the scene in the infirmary. You have no script, you have no dialogue, you don't have an actor to play the nurse, it's just a nurse who's on the ship,
She
right?
just happened to be
and you
there,
get what is probably the most memorable scene.
But that's because, actually the first take, it all went horribly wrong, you know, because I said to the medical officer there, you know, listen, we'll just do it, just imagine it's a training exercise, just ignore the fact it's Tom Hanks. And she went white, you know. And then we kind of got in there, and it all went wrong. She dried, and Barry and I kind of tried to come in the room, and we fell over, and it was all just a disaster. But you could tell just in that moment there was something in the room that was real. And we'd been looking at it, looking for it, upstairs in a different room, 6 hours later in screen time, and it wasn't real, but it was real here. And so
but how did
nailed it.
Tom get to that place in that kind of blind panic? How did you help him?
He said, we had a conversation after the first take, because you could feel, he said, oh, it just feels different here because it's tiny. And
shirtless.
Yeah.
You know, that must
and
have...
she's a woman.
Yeah.
And suddenly someone's being nice to me after weeks and weeks and weeks of having a gun put in my face, and it just all poured out. But of course, the thing about acting like that is it's about control, isn't it? You've got to access that emotion, but you've got to produce that performance with perfect control, which is what he did, and she did. They were just perfect together. You know? It was just a lucky, lucky moment. But that, so much of filmmaking, you can try and stack the odds for you, but in the end, it's a lot of it's luck. You know, the luck of the moment.
Wow.